In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the Great Depression, passed the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
So I was recently asked by NPR how the Hawley-Smoot tariffs contributed to the Great Depression. The stock market crashed in the fall of 1929, and by the summer of 1930, they raised the new tariffs. This effectively raised the rate on targeted goods up to a level not seen since 1830. Did this help the Great Depression? No. The biggest effect was to launch an international retaliation. Over the next 4 years, global trade spiraled downwards. Research has shown that the isolated effect of the tariff on the United States economy was modestly negative. For others, it was catastrophic. Here's a paper looking at Canada. Fully half of their Great Depression can be explained by less trade. And for the world as a whole, a recent paper finds trade economic welfare fell by roughly 8 to 17%. Beyond the realm of trade, it also strained the relationships with other countries. As I said, less trade leads to less cooperation, less trust, which will lead to more violence. Let me ask, what happened to world peace after we imposed giant tariffs on one another? Was the decade between 1935 and 45 known as the Great Peace? After the Second World War, it was apocryphally noted that when goods don't cross borders, soldiers will. Which is why we saw a concerted effort to open the world again to exchange. And we see that as global exchange gradually increased over the past 80 years there in orange, so too has the frequency of global conflict declined. Today we are forgetting the wisdom of free-thinking economists. Famously, John Stuart Mill outlined his reasoning in his 1848 Principles text. The economic advantages of commerce are surpassed in importance by those of its moral effects. It is hardly possible to overrate the value of placing human beings in contact with persons dissimilar than themselves. Commerce first taught nations to see with goodwill the wealth and prosperity of one another. Before, the patriot wished all countries weak, poor, and ill-governed but his own. He now sees in their wealth a direct source of wealth to his own country. It may be said that without exaggeration that international trade is the principal guarantee of the peace of the world. If Trump's proposed tariffs go into place, it would return the average tariff rates on all imports, not just the targeted goods, back to levels last seen under Hawley-Smoot. The yellow line here represents Trump's proposals. And as Mill and all the way back to Kant and Montesquieu have noted, the effect won't simply be a slowdown in the economy, but violence. As was recently reported, Trump wants to see the total collapse of the Canadian economy because that'll make it easier to annex. Trump did not believe that the treaty that demarcates the border between the two countries was valid, and he wants to revise the boundary. In other words, there appears to be desires to create a Canad-Anschluss. Not good, everybody.